Hey ABC, it's Greeno. Well, I'm finally going to do a label spotlight. Been wanting to do this for a while, and actually I kind of wanted to do it on Ebony Records, but that's kind of that's going to be a big one. It's going to take a while to put together. So I figured I'd kind of start out with a smaller label that I really dig, and actually just kind of completed their 80s releases. Probably 5-6 months ago. Got the 4 or 5 months ago, whatever. Got the last one I needed. Super happy about it too. But anyways, what I'm going to be talking about is Auburn Records out of Cleveland. Very cool label. Started around '83 and basically ended around '87 in the '80s. They did do like a cassette compilation around 1990, and then they disappeared until '99, and they've kind of been going ever since 1999. And I'm not familiar with most of the releases from '99 on, or any of the bands or anything. Just never really followed them. Yeah, you know me, typical '80s, stuck in the '80s. But their '80s releases are fantastic, and there's just a handful of them, but everything they put out was really cool. Like I said, a Cleveland label, and for the most part all the bands were from Cleveland, I think, except for one, and we'll talk about that when we get to it here. And just like I say, I've had to research some of this stuff, so it's not like I know all this right off the top of my head. And I want to give a shout out to the Corroseum. Man, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's a really cool website that this dude put together of metal labels. And you can go in there and pull up tons of labels, and he just has all of their releases, right there. It's very helpful, very cool if you're into this type of music. So worth checking out. Okay, so anyways, and actually I have it up here just in case I have to glance for some notes here. Let's go ahead and start right into it. Basically, Auburn started with a compilation in '83, and it started on Clubside Records. And the compilation is Cleveland Metal. And I've actually had this for a long time, but it's still sealed. I've never spun this, and I think after this video I'm going to crack this open and finally spin it. But very cool. What you have on here is Black Death, Sacred Few, who never released anything else in the 80s anyways on Auburn. But just not long ago, I think it was Shadow Kingdom put out some old Sacred Few recordings. And Cerebrus, Jagged Edge, Mistreater, who would go on to release some stuff on another label. Breaker, probably the most well-known, bigger band that come off the Auburn label was Shock Paris, and a band called Sorcerer. And doing some research, again, I was looking this up, and there's 2 versions of this. And basically the only difference is some pictures on the back and some logos that were used for the band names. And this is the, I guess, first pressing of the more rare one, for whatever that means, but which is kind of cool, But again, still sealed, and I'm going to crack this thing open, and I'm hoping it's not warped or anything, so we will find out. So again, 1983, Auburn puts out on Curbside Records, Cleveland Metal compilation. Really cool stuff to come. Bands on there that would put out full lengths. The first full length, which is AU001, came out a year later in 1984, and that's Shock Paris, Go for the Throat. And the cool thing about this label is all these bands, there's no glam here, there's no full on thrash. It's just heavy metal. It's like power metal with touches of speed metal. What do you say, thrash? Just, you know, power metal, man. It's the best way to describe all these bands. Yeah, there's some that are faster than others, some that are more heavy metal, you know, but they're all killer. And, you know, 1984, this is right there with that 80s, you know, that power metal that was coming on. And it, Shock Paris, like I said, very cool band. They would go on to release one more album on Auburn, and we'll see that here in a minute. And then switch over to IRS Records for a album or two, I think maybe just one. And here's the whole label. Nothing fancy. Okay, in the same year, and it's AU002, we have an album that's very expensive now, and I had no idea. I picked this up probably 10 years ago or so. I didn't have it in the 80s. I had a friend that had it, but anyways, I didn't pick it up till maybe 10 years ago or so. But yeah, I've seen this thing like $300 or something, which is insane. But the band is Black Death, and this was their one and only on Auburn. And they actually just put something out not long ago, last year, and it's kind of, the whole band is being disputed now. You know, it's like who's in the band. I think it's mainly just a guitar, one of the guitar players now, or the guitar player now, and which is Sicky Spacer. But again, from Cleveland, all black band playing serious metal, man. This album is a little more on the, I don't want to say extreme, but for 1984, it was on the extreme side for that period, kind of, I guess you could say. And this album came with the only 7-inch single that Auburn released in the 80s, which was this Black Death 7-inch, and this is AU702. And like I said, it came with the album. And I still have the sticker on here. $15 is what I paid for this. So, which in hindsight was a hell of a deal, it sounds like. Right, next, and this is AU003, and this is from 1985. This band was actually from California, San Francisco, I believe. And it's Havoc, The Grit. And again, very cool. Just, you know, no messing around here. It's just freaking metal. You can see the pictures on the back here. Hopefully not too much glare. There's really there's not a turd in their whole catalog from the 80s. It was really cool label. There's the insert. And actually this, I'm kind of cheating on this one, as you could probably already notice. This is the Steam Hammer release. But you can see it still has Auburn, so they licensed it from Auburn and released it. And you can see the Steam Hammer logo here. Hopefully, yeah. And I would actually like to get a full-blown Auburn pressing of this at some point. But for now, it is what it is. And actually, here's another one. Relatively recent, maybe 2 years ago. This popped up in my honey hole down around DC, and this one, along with well, I just say Breaker, that was the last one I needed. those were the two I was needing to complete the catalog, and that's Destructor. I keep wanting to say Destruction. And it's Maximum Destruction. And again, just straight up, it's killer mid-80s metal. And this is also from '85, and this is AU004. And here's the insert. But I actually had a friend around this time period, like '84, '85, that went to college in Cleveland. He was a little bit older than me, but he would, and he was a serious metalhead, and he'd already turned me on to stuff before he took off to college. But evidently there was a really good metal scene in Cleveland in the mid '80s, because I remember him coming home with all this crazy stuff, man, that I'd never heard yet, like Destructor and Nuclear Assault and Lizzie Borden. I think the first time I heard them was through him, mid '80s somewhere. And I always think back to that when I think about these bands. It's like, and I'm not in touch with him anymore, but I can't remember if he ever mentioned seeing any of these Cleveland bands, but it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't at that time. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and get the number. It's AU005. This is 1986. Purgatory, Tied to the Tracks. This is a very cool band. What do I want to say? Kind of, in a way, I kind of hear like a mix of Wasp on their first album and Slayer. It's not as fast as Slayer. It's not as commercial, if you can call the first Wasp album commercial, but it's kind of a mix of that a little bit, in a weird way. I don't know, somebody else might hear something else, but he definitely reminds me, has a little bit of that Blackie Lawless vocals, and again, just killer power metal, a little faster than some of the other bands. These guys might be in there with Black Death, a little more extreme for that time. Again, for that time, not today. So that was AU005. AU006 is actually what's playing in the background on CD. But this was the last one I needed for the Auburn collection, the 80s Auburn collection. And to me, this is the gem of the catalog. This album freaking is fantastic. And I've had it on CD for a long time, but I just never got around to buying the album, and it's a bit pricey. But I came across, what I was willing to pay, and I grabbed it. It's Breaker, Get Tough. This album's great, man. They were better than Shock Paris, Again, Shock Paris kind of went on to have, I guess, the most success out of all these bands. Here's the back. These guys are kind of like straight up metal. On the power metal side, there's moments of Metal Church in here. A touch of that progressive whatever that Metal Church has. The Mike Howe era Metal Church. And this is before that, this is '87. And the big song was 10 Seconds In. If you want to check this band out, you can hear it on YouTube. Pull up 10 Seconds In by Breaker. And it's just an awesome track. And here's the label. I can't believe I waited so long to get this on vinyl. So I was super happy when I finally grabbed it. And looks like somebody, Tower Records had this for $9.44. And then there's one above it that says 60. I'm assuming that's 60 cents somebody bought this for, and I definitely didn't pay that. But I'm definitely happy to have it for what I paid for it. I'm still happy. And then the last album of the 80s, 1987, and it's AU-007, Shock, Paris, Steel, and Starlight. Basically the only band to have two full-length releases in the 80s on Auburn. Hopefully that's not too much glare. Now this was released on Auburn and IRS. From what I can find, there was no official Auburn release. I guess it was that changeover period when the band, you know, signed to IRS, and Auburn might have been like, hey, we want one more album from them. And I guess they went together. So both labels are on the album. IRS on here. If you look in the bottom corner, you have the Auburn logo. And then Shock Paris was going to release one more album, and it was fully on IRS. And I'm going blank now. It was a Concrete Jungle, Concrete something. Can't remember off the top of my head now. But that's it for the 80s. And like I said, in the 90s, or 1990, they released a cassette compilation, AU-007-4, which is called Heavy Artillery. Which is kind of interesting because there was a really cool label a few years back called Heavy Artillery. I wonder if that's where they got the name from. Maybe, who knows. But anyways, very cool label, and a small amount of releases, so you know it's possible to kind of collect everything from that 80s period. It was possible, I guess you can kind of say, because like that Black Death is just through the roof now, which is crazy. It's nowhere near the best album on Auburn. I don't know why it's so expensive now. But either way, very cool label. And like I said, in '99, they started putting out albums again, CDs. As far as I know, no vinyl. And for example, here's Breakers Get Tough on CD. And I think this is from '99, right around there. And this is a pretty cool package. It's a 2 LP set with a killer book. And the second disc is like all stuff from back in the day, demos and that kind of thing, live tracks. And they also put out around '99 Breakers Accept EP, which is kind of cool. You got Accept with Breaker, and now you have Breaker with Accept. And they even did the guitars on the back, the Flying Bees. This had like 2 new tracks on it, if I remember correct. 2 new tracks, and then the track that was on the Heavy Artillery compilation, and maybe some demo stuff. I think there's like 6 or 7 songs on here total. And the only other thing I believe I have from Auburn is, and man, I can't remember when this came out, probably 8-10 years ago, Destructor, Forever in Leather. And this was released on Auburn as a CD, but Auburn licensed it to the Mighty High Roller. So hopefully you can see that down there, both logos, which is cool. And this is really good. This kind of surprised me, man. For an older band getting back together and, you know, putting a new album out. This was a damn good album. And here's the label. So that's it. That's Auburn Records in the 80s. And again, you can check into them, you know, from '99 on. They definitely have some releases. I kind of looked real quick, and it's a lot of stuff, you know, a lot of bands I don't know and I haven't checked out. And, you know, wouldn't mind checking out. I just haven't got around to it. But that's it. Hopefully, if everybody kind of digs this, maybe I'll finally jump on the Ebony Records spotlight. I know Aaron's been kind of, it's like, when are you going to do the Ebony thing, man? And I want to do it, man, but it's kind of like, phew, yeah, got to pull a lot of records off the shelf to do that one. I'm missing a handful from the Ebony catalog. I can't remember how many now. Actually, Aaron helped me with a Shy record I needed. But I might be missing 4 or 5 now. But anyways, leave a comment. Check out the website I was talking about. That, you know, it talks about these old labels. It's a fantastic site. It's been around forever. I don't even know if it's updated anymore, to be quite honest, because everything you need is already on there. But that's it. Hope everybody's doing well, and I don't know, be doing an update video soon, hopefully. Alright, be see you later.